Hi guys, welcome back to 97 Projects. I'm Amy and today we're going to be preserving real flowers in resin. We are going to be using silica gel for the first time to fully dry out the flowers and then put them in resin. As with the first time I used resin video, I'll be giving you any beginner's tips that I picked up along the way, and hopefully that will save you time and money. Now, there is a little bit of pressure with this project since this is the last bouquet of flowers this lovely lady received from her husband before he sadly passed away. And because this is the first time that I'm doing it myself, I've made sure I've done lots of research on the internet, watched lots of videos just to make sure that I'm not going to mess this up. We don't know what moulds we're using yet. We're going to see how they dry first and then try and decide what's best and which flowers made it in the silica and what we can try and do with it. We do know we want a bookmark. She's an avid reader, so if we get a couple of the petals from the bouquet, then we'll put them into a resin bookmark for her and put a little tassel on the end. So we've also got the father's buttonhole from their daughter's wedding, which they've managed to keep dry in the car. So it's very well dried. I just need to try and give it a bit more life and a bit more fluff, and I'm going to have to monitor this one a little bit closely, I think, because it's almost there. So we'll try and open it out a little bit. Get lots of silica inside it and dry it out properly. So safety first, we should have done this first in theory. Ventilation mask, pair of goggles, protect our eyes. I've also got an apron on just to protect my clothing, and a pair of gloves. The silica that we're going to be using today is this from Wise Dry. It's a £5 bag and it is luckily reusable. I think the bigger flowers are going to take around a week to dry out, and then some of these smaller ones are probably going to take a few days. Right, should we get started before these flowers die anymore? Step 1 is to separate the flowers into the different types so you can see which ones are the best. And a little tip that I learned here is that if they look dead before you put them in the silica gel, they will probably look worse when you take them out. So don't waste your time or the space in the container trying to dry them out. Step 2 is to trim the stems down to the head of the flower. I like to do this step before I've opened the silica gel so I have to spend less time with the mask on. Right, so finally time to move on. I'm going to move these to one side and then I'm going to PP up. But not like Pokemon PP up, where they like PP up, you know what I mean. Oh, I'll tell you what, that's a good idea. And I can lift them in. Okay, so the flat flowers lay face down, long flowers can lie on their side, and then the fluffy ones can lie face up with the stems down. Step 3 is to pour a thin layer of sand in a long shallow container which has a lid. I got this one from Tesco and it was £5. Step 4 is to place the flowers in the sand and space them apart. For deep flowers like roses, pour a little bit of sand in the middle to make sure that the whole rose is dried. And a tip for this part is to place the taller flowers closer to the edge of the container, so you don't have to use as much sand to cover them. Also, I wouldn't have wasted as much effort trying to dry the leaves out as well. Step 5 is to steadily cover the flowers in silica gel. And my tip for this part is to buy more silica than you think you'll need, so you can cover the whole flowers. I actually ran out here and then I had to order some more. Step 6 is to add the lid and then store in a cool dark place for 3 to 7 days. Because I was a little bit nervous about drying flowers, and because some of the flowers were already dried, I ended up checking on them every day. As soon as the leaves and flowers started to feel light and slightly crispy, I decided to take them out of the box. On day 2, I removed most of the leaves and put them in a cardboard box. On day 3, I decided that the buttonhole rose had dried enough, and I distributed the rest of the sand around the bigger flowers. Oh, it's day 5. I did take some of the flowers out last night, so these are them dried now, because they were looking a little bit crispy. Didn't want them to go too brittle. I think as well, because there's not many flowers left, I'm going to transfer it into this smaller box, so I don't have to use as much sand, and I can use the rest of the sand for the wedding bouquet that I'm doing. As the flowers were drying, they were getting quite delicate, and I saw online a cat litter scoop can be used to lift them out the sand gently. Another tip is to use a fluffy makeup brush to dust the sand off flowers. This way you can minimise the amount of sand that gets inside the resin. On day 8 I decided to give the flowers one more chance to dry out. This would also give me a day to prep the moulds with a small protective layer of resin. Both moulds being used in this video are from Artsy. I also noticed that the mould was upside down, so the rose would have to go in upside down. So in order to stop creating air pockets when the rose was upside down, I needed to fill it with resin first.
Right, it still looks like a rose. Just about. I've got this amazing heart mould which I bought for the wedding flowers, which we're going to try out for this order too.
So these are all the flowers that made it through the drying process. I couldn't tell you what all of them are, I'm afraid, I'm not very green thumbed. Fun fact, the first time I used my lawnmower I cut through the cord. And the first time I used my hedge trimmer I cut through the cord. So I'm thinking about going cordless from now on. The next step was to try and arrange the flowers as nicely as I can. If you're planning on doing this sort of thing for paying customers, it's also worth noting that some of the flowers may change colour. Step 10 is to start covering the flowers in small layers of resin with a day in between. The brand of resin that you use will dictate how thick you can pour the layers of resin, so just read the instructions and don't make the layers too thick, otherwise it may generate too much heat. I also got started on the bookmark at this point, and the only thing I would change is to press the flowers properly in a flower press. "24 hours later and the pieces were ready for the next layer. It's going to be quite difficult to pop the bubbles once they're in the mould, so try and make sure the resin is as bubble free as possible before pouring it in. I had some leftover flowers from Linda's bouquet, so I decided to rip the petals off and make another bookmark for her. The last layer of resin going on now. For the last layer on the sphere, I decided that I was going to drizzle the resin in just to give the air pockets a chance to come out before trapping them inside. And then I spent a good half an hour, 45 minutes tapping this bloody thing to make sure that all the pockets came out.
Wow. Oh my god. That is amazing. That's probably the most favourite thing I've ever made. Wow, 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 wow. Not sure if I can do anything about these bubbles here. The flowers do look a little bit wilted, but otherwise, I think I've done a really good job on the resin. One of the bookmarks as well. So this is the bookmark that we did first, and then we poured an extra coat on top, just to cover the flowers. Oh, it's turned out okay. I do need to do a lot of trimming. It's very pretty. The flowers do look a bit smushed where I've tried to press them a little bit, but they look great. And this bookmark here, this is still soft because we only did the first coat yesterday. Oh, I actually love that. That's so delicate. Got some tidying up to do after this is fully cured. It's still a bit bendy, so I'm going to lie this down so it stays nice and flat. Tell you what, it's not bad. There's a huge air pocket there though. Wow, that mould is brilliant. Much better than the sphere moulds I was looking at. Nice little stand on it as well, underneath. That big air pocket in there, I don't know if you can see that. Annoying, but that actually looks really good.
After a lot of sanding and a little bit of polishing, it was time to see the final results.
We'll start with the buttonhole, so the paperweight. I am really happy how it turned out. There's quite a big air pocket in the middle, but I did coat the roses properly before, put them upside down in the resin, so hopefully that stops it from going mouldy at all. But yeah, no, I'm really happy with that one, because that's a new mould. That's something I haven't really used before, so definitely happy. Happy? Yeah. So the first bookmark is the first one that I did with the pressed flowers and the gold leaf in the petals. Turned out nicely. I've for some reason, whatever I've done this time, it hasn't turned out as shiny as it normally does. So I'll just have to keep an eye on that, I think. And then the little freebie one that I'm throwing in, because I had leftover flowers and leftover resin, which I think that's gorgeous. It's a lot thinner than the first one as well, so you've got the choice there between the two, and they're both made from the same flowers. So then the final one, this is honestly one of the coolest things I've ever made, I think. Not just for the pure size of it, but it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. I think that is super cool, because you can see it from all the different angles. I think I did a better job on the next set of flowers, which is unfortunate, but I think these were dying a little bit as well, so I don't think it's all my fault. But it's a beautiful keepsake of this lady's last bouquet from her husband, which is so romantic. I know it is tragic, but it's so romantic. Like, even though he was ill, he still managed to go out and buy his wife some flowers, which is gorgeous. You can see the little light through that as well, how nice that is. I'm going to tell them to keep them out of sunlight, no harsh chemicals, just maybe some soap and water if you need to clean it. And yeah, just enjoy it really. I kept the, so what I did with the sanding is I sanded it all the way around the edges rather than touching the top, because what I didn't want to have to do is do another top coat. I wanted to take them round tonight, so that's what I'm going to go and do now. So join me next time. So next time you should be seeing the bridal bouquet video. I've been asked to preserve a bridal bouquet, so if you're looking forward to that, make sure you hit like, because that helps my channel. Subscribe and put the notifications on, because then you'll hear when that new video comes out. And yeah, thanks for watching. That thing out of, what's the fly video? Is it just called the fly? Okay, do I switch now? Don't know, I didn't see a tutorial on camera angles. No glove, no silicone. I did have another lady as well who's dropping her wedding bouquet round on Sunday. Not that it matters what day that she's dropping it around. This is going to come out in about a month. So these are very... Why am I shaking so bad? I'm not nervous on it. I'm not nervous. Okay. There are some really good examples in here. Why do I keep calling them examples? They've not released an album. Be back 13. How do I? That inch? I would ask my boyfriend, but I don't think he could tell me. Why am I shaking so bad? I think I need food. That's my excuse anyway. No! Hey! Wow, it's bright. Holy snaps. Oh. Day 4. Day 4. From... Oops. Oh, picking my nose there. No, I wasn't. I was wiping the snot from my nose actually. Why am I arguing with myself?